We're back on the block with Frontier opening bell. It's Thursday, the 2nd of May. We just finished off the Labor Day, International Labor Day for Workers celebration, and that was yesterday. So that's all behind us with the markets closed across many jurisdictions around the world. Chinese financial markets will remain closed until Sunday, May the 5th. So let's keep on. Of course, yesterday we got the news out of the US Federal Reserve Bank, held interest rates unchanged, say the battle against inflation is not over yet, and that the Fed is not winning yet. Those words from Jerome Powell, the chairman of the FOMC. So the Fed fund rate is left between 5.2% to 5% range. So that's it in the news this morning. Just as everyone were on the labor holiday, the U.S. Central Bank has now decided interest rates, and then we move on from there. Our other assets were in different directions on Wednesday. Assets were outside the equities market, but what you see on your screen were Tuesday's closing figures. Just give you a very soft reminder about where we were just before the May Day holiday, and that was the 30th of April. Numbers where the markets closed in April for these markets. The Nigerian market was 27 basis points better. The BIVM was better by 64. The Egyptian market was down 6.01% on Tuesday, while the Nairobi stock market was down by 0.25%. The GSE was down by 0.5%. And so let's get to the first trading day in the month of May, the second month of the second quarter, up and running today. So let's take this down, grab a couple of headlines for you within the East African markets, where Total Energy is reporting dividend that is higher because the profit shot up to about 4.6 billion shillings as all retailer operating within the Kenyan market. Total Energies in Nigeria also reported last week, just before the market went over the weekend and into the Labor Day holiday. Kenya has cancelled the project backed by France. That's the Miles Summit Highway contract is being revoked. Now, the way forward on this, we'll have to hear from President Ruto's administration. And 20 foreign institutional investors have exited Kenyan bourse in the first quarter of the year, that's January to March. That's still a basis of concern as we saw the transition out of the Nairobi Securities Exchange and how the market is looking to revamp itself from the sell down that was saw by foreign portfolio investors last year. Go to the north, where Ethiopia, a trade union says they want a relief from the government. They want some level of palliatives because of the rising living expenses impacting members of the trade unions. And those are headlines north or east of the continent. Let's take that straight to West Africa. And of course, you find Crowdec reporting that it secured about $2.5 million in seed funding to optimize on-demand delivery food in Nigeria, while MTN Nigeria first quarter earnings were buffeted by Nigeria's exchange rates. The Naira dollar went nearly 2,000 to the greenback earlier in the year. That impacted MTN earnings, reporting subscribers growth of just about 1.3%, posted a bit of a decent revenue in local currency terms, but suffered significantly as far as exchange rate devaluation is concerned. Earnings per share came in at a negative 18.63, and earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization, or EBITDA, was a negative 1.9%. In the meantime, in Ghana, say the savings and loans company has listed a fresh 100 million cedis bond on the Ghana Stock Exchange, while Liberia is facing the backlash over the ban on unprocessed rubber exports out of the country. In the meantime, cocoa prices were sharply lower just before the Labor Day holiday, 10.48% on Wednesday. Just as we go, muscle markets went on holiday because there were issues around the trading. Those who are doing cocoa trading globally decided to price the futures delivery for July, both on the London and New York exchanges were sharply lower, about 10% in New York and about 4% thereabouts in London. Those are the numbers and top headline stories out of West Africa. Let's cross to Southern Africa, where the political environment is getting heated up. We're counting down to May the 29th for the general elections in Africa's most advanced economy, and the immediate past President Jacob Zuma's new party is going at a loggerhead with former President Thabo Mbeki as well, with President Ramaphosa also looking for another term in office. So it's a very crunching time in terms of politics and political economy in South Africa. In the meantime, go to Zimbabwe, where the Reserve Bank held interest rate just before Labour holiday at 20% because of the feedback it's getting on the ZiG currency. The Zimbabwe also floated its latest inflation, which is now tied to the ZiG, which is about 57.5%. As the ZiG knocks the monthly rate. So the inflation in Zimbabwe is now being rebased in a manner of speaking because of the introduction of the new currency. In Namibia, the central bank has broadened its financial inclusions with instant payment project, while the BRVM, that French-speaking West African exchange for 8 speaking countries in West Africa, will be hosting its investment roadshow on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa, starting from for 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday next week. That's May the 7th and 8th. We'll got some reporting out of the Johannesburg market for this roadshow for you here on Frontier Africa Reports. And South Africa has been ranked as a top golf tourism destination because golfers, according to reports, spend far much more than ordinary and other tourists in South Africa, by the way. According to some reports, about 120% higher. Of course, golf is a game for the rich. Let's move on to North Africa, by the way. So Egypt's Al-Mashat champions human capital and clean energy, and that was at the World Economic Forum special edition held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, a couple of days ago, while the finance minister in Egypt, the ministry, is looking to launch 26 tenders for the bonds that will be floated this month. That's about 457 billion Egyptian pounds. We'll see how this come through over the couple of weeks. And Morocco is looking to attract 2 million business tourism by the year 2030, while the Tunisia's economy minister and the president of the Islamic Bank for Islamic Development Bank, ISDB, have signed a $60 million SMEs funding. That transaction was done. They just concluded the ISDB annual meetings in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. And of course, the ISDB is also marking its an anniversary, which is quite also part of the entire program. And that's about it for today. As we start the rest of what's left of the week, 2 sessions for many markets on this side of the Atlantic. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll be back soon to you tomorrow to wrap up the market week here on Frontier Opening Bell.